Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Jessie Stafford, and I am the Brand and Relationship Coordinator here at AI Futures. For today's panel, we are very excited to have with us the Naval Surface Warfare Center Philadelphia Division, as well as newly integrated into our panel is NIWC PAC. So I'm going to be going through here in just a little bit of introducing those individual speakers. But before we get started, wanted to give you a little bit of a background of AI Futures and who we are. So what our mission is that we are funded and supported by the Department of Defense to provide opportunities such as the panel today, to do outreach for students to be allow some education and insight on what it means to be a civilian worker in the DoD. So thinking of anything from scholarships to internships to full-time opportunities, figuring out where it is that you are across the country, and picking essentially a destination where you can start to apply. So really excited that we're going to be able to show a piece of what that means today. So in terms of what AI Futures has to offer, I alluded to that just a little bit before. So we do technical talks outside of our own career panels that we do virtually. We also do sponsor hackathons across the country. So University of Georgia, Ohio University, University of Michigan, Dearborn, so on and so forth. Really happy to be sponsors there. And then we do work with live events. So AIGVC events. We're going down to Tennessee State here in a few weeks to hang out with them. We're going to Purdue RoboMasters. So if there are any Purdue University students, we'll have a slide up here in a little bit to show more information about that. Awesome. So let's get to the meat of what today is. So as I mentioned at the top of this call, and obviously with the invitation that you received ahead of it, we are excited to welcome in NSWC Philadelphia Division. So they are one piece of a gigantic pie of what it means to work for the Navy as a civilian professional. So they are working on exactly what you think it is that they would be working on, right? Ships, submarines, combat systems, being able to do some additional focuses within cybersecurity, fleet support, and logistics. So we have a few different engineers today that will be able to talk to those experiences. So joining us from Philadelphia, we have Catherine. She is a cybersecurity professional. Shrey, branch head at NSWC PD. Jose, he is a tech deployment official. And we also have Mike Timberman. He is a Navy veteran, but now works as an electrical engineer. And then lastly, we have Tristan, who is within the aerospace and mechanical engineering side. But in addition to that, he works with STEM outreach. And then I mentioned before, which is a wonderful surprise that we wanted to be able to award all of you students, we are excited to have NIWC PAC that is located out in San Diego to join us. So with us today, we also have Tanvir, who specializes in developing software, and Alex, who is a United States Air Force veteran, but now works within the System Network Administration, software engineering, and aerospace security. So doing all of the things with us today. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to hand over the mic to Shrey. We do have the opportunity for you to pop in questions in our chat here, but he is really going to be our moderator. So thank you so much for taking over, and we look forward to this discussion.
Awesome. Hey, Jesse, thank you for all the participants. I can't see you, but thank you guys for joining on a Friday afternoon. I'm not sure where you guys are all joining from, but I'm here in Philadelphia. It's probably like the third nice day since winter started. So I really do appreciate that everybody is spending their time here with us and not outside or doing something, more fun, right? So yeah, with that, I wanted to, I guess, start with, reiterate what Jesse said, right? Your questions are really why we are here. So drop them in chat. And we'll, as folks see them, any of the panel folks can raise their hands and we'll try to answer them and provide some compelling stories and anecdotes about our experiences. And beyond that, in the short term, I have some questions for our panel members that will hopefully inspire some questions from everybody else in attendance, right? I wanted to start, I was thinking about this all day, not as a traditional panel question, right? But maybe this is more of a question for the attendees. Drop into chat, like sort of the attributes of your dream career, and we'll see how many of those attributes the jobs that we have working for the Navy and DoD meet those, right? So beyond that, I guess what I'm curious most about, starting with, I see Tanvir is number 1 on my screen. Starting with Tanvir, can you talk to me? Did you start working for the Navy right out of college, or did you start in private industry? And how many years of experience do you have now?
Yeah, I started right after my master's, but I'd done 3 internships with NIWC specifically. So I've been in the O&R space for quite some time, and I've been here as a full-time engineer for 2 years. Before that, I did a co-op with Qualcomm.
Okay, fantastic. Mike, I see you're next on my screen. Same question for you.
Okay, right out of college, I joined the Navy. I did 8.5 years on submarines. While I was in the Navy, I got my second bachelor's degree in nuclear engineering technology. Then I left the Navy, worked with GE for 9 years as a design engineer. Then I moved back to Philly with Sunoco in oil and gas and refining. And then I moved back to NAVC about probably 6 years ago, doing power systems on submarines.
Incredible. Later on, if we have time, I'd love to circle back and find out what your experience is like going from private industry back to the Navy. But for now, I want to keep moving. So Tristan, I see you next on my screen. So Tristan, why don't you talk to us about your background?
Yeah, so I have bachelor's degrees in mechanical engineering and aerospace engineering from West Virginia University. I actually started working for NAVC right after undergrad. Went on to get my graduate degree, a Master's of Science in Aeronautics and Astronautics through the University of Washington. The Navy paid for that. While I was working for the Navy down in DC, I hopped around a little bit. I was at NAVC headquarters. I went to the Office of Naval Research. I worked at Naval Surface Warfare Center Carteroff Division for a little while in a development program called the Naval Acquisition Development Program. And then came up to Philadelphia Division doing research, development, as well as testing and evaluation on turbine machinery systems for fans. And that includes a lot more things than you might think about. And eventually moved into my current role, which is supporting the STEM outreach mission.
Awesome. Perfect. Let's see. Jose, I think, are you able? I don't quite see you on my screen, but hopefully you're able to jump in. Okay. If Jose's having some technical issues, Catherine, do you want to give us a quick background on how many years you've been around and if you started right after university or had experience out in private industry?
Yeah, I had like 3 internships in a private industry like during college. But then junior year of college, I actually applied for and got the SFS Cyber Corp scholarship. And so the obligation, you pay 2 years to the government. I had an internship at Dahlgren in Dahlgren, Virginia with that warfare center. And then I had a bunch of job offers with like SPAWAR, different warfare centers, but I picked Philadelphia because it was the biggest city for a college student coming out. So I moved to Philadelphia, and then that was in 2018. And I've moved around a little bit in Philadelphia. I did steering for like a year, and then I moved to Networks Group for a year, and I'm now in doing cybersecurity.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Okay, and then I think Alex is the last person from NIWC. Alex, are you here? Again, my Teams is being a little wonky.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yep, I'm here. So I actually went straight into the Air Force right after high school, worked on getting my bachelor's in CS from University of Maryland. During that time, I spent about 8 years. I was just working on cyber and all sorts of different types of systems, anything from aircraft to ICS SCADA. And eventually, when I got out, I transitioned into private industry. I worked at a healthcare facility for a couple years as a security engineer doing threat emulation. And now I'm at NIWC. And yep.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So I'm keeping an eye on the chat, and I see, let's see, one question about sponsorship for international students. I think I know what the answer is to this, but I'm going to defer to Tristan, who might have a more complete answer. Do you want to comment on that, Tristan?
So I actually put a reply to that in the chat. Not that I'm aware of. As far as I'm aware, employees, and that includes interns, must be U.S. citizens.
Yeah, that was my understanding as well. So, okay, perfect. Jack asked a question about what he could do with a degree in industrial and systems engineering for the DoD. I'll kick this off. I know many of my colleagues who either started with a mechanical engineering degree or another engineering degree, and then went back for a systems engineering degree. The Navy, the DoD, ships, right? These are all systems of systems. They all are integrated systems that are operating together, and they all need to operate as a single unit for them to be able to perform their mission. So there's definitely a huge demand for systems engineering and understanding a systems architecture. With that in mind, again, I cannot see quite everybody on the panel. So if anybody on the panel wants to comment on Jack's question, I would say at this point, just jump in.
Yeah, so I'll chime in. Systems engineering, oh my gosh, we do so much stuff at NSWC Philadelphia Division. And usually what I tell students is if you have that kind of background or interest, that is absolutely fantastic, because so many things that we do is interdependent. We're responsible for all the shipboard machinery systems. So it's all the mechanical systems, electrical systems, controls, computers, all of that stuff. And there's so many interdependencies between all of those things that I actually see a lot of people going on and getting, graduate degrees in systems engineering because of that. So that's a really good way to situate yourself, actually.
And I had made a note of this based on something that Catherine said, where she had gotten a scholarship. One of the big benefits of NSWC Philadelphia, and I'll let Tanvi or Alex comment on NIWC, is that NSWC Philadelphia, if you become an employee of our organization, they will pay for your master's, they'll pay for your PhD, you'll get a salary. I think they'll also cover books if you submit the right forms. So that was a huge benefit. I'd asked everybody about their background. My background, I started at NSWC Philly back in 2008, graduated from Drexel with a degree in mechanical engineering. And in 2009, I started taking an evening class every term until I got my master's in mechanical engineering. That was all paid for by the Navy. And that was huge. I mean, I don't even know how much Drexel was charging over those years for a master's, but to have it paid for and not have student debt associated with it is massive. So definitely something, just an additional, I guess, accentuation to that answer. Let's see. If any of the other panelists have responses to that, feel free to jump in. Apu? I can't tell if somebody's raising their hand. I'm not sure if you're a guest and you raise your hand. I'm not sure if we'll be able to actually interact with you. I think all the guests are muted. So again, if you have a question, place it in chat. So
this is Tanvi from the NIWC side. Maybe I can jump in on that question, because I think it's related to a lot of questions that people are having of like if this discipline or that discipline is relevant for the work that's done at ONR. And I think broadly, engineering, science, technologies, even there's a comment on the business administration major. I think all of those are relevant in their own little spheres. It's really ultimately what group you're able to find within that that can use that kind of work. I mean, within me and with my group as well, on the comment of the masters, I know off the top of my head 3 team members that got their masters while they worked at NIWC, and I know one that's currently working with their masters that's being paid through NIWC. But one thing I'd like to comment on is you learn one thing in college, we learn one discipline. When we come to the workforce, you tend to learn everything. A lot of my engineers were mechanical engineers, now they're doing software. I was electrical engineering, machine learning. Now I'm doing a lot of STEM outreach and a lot of coordination in terms of like business acumen. So you get to do everything.
Perfect. Thank you. That was a great answer. I see Jose is online now. Jose, can you hear us? Do you want to do a quick comms check?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for having some issues with the connection this afternoon, but looks like finally I was able to get everything fixed. Yeah, just a little bit of context here. I come in from the private industry after I did my bachelor degree in mechanical engineering. I did 5.5 years working for aerospace company. Then I have the opportunity to join the Navy on NSWC in Philadelphia as a federal employee, and it's just that's a move that I do not hesitate for two reasons. One of the things, the mission that we do. Every employee that we have on the DoD, the Navy, civilians, for the Army, for the Air Force, we have a direct impact on our work life, or our life every day. That means like the work that we do contribute to everything that we do externally of our work. That means that's something that I consider really important, and it's a motivation for myself too. That means like I know that everything that I do, this time that I'm spending here on this panel, the time that I spend every day, have a direct contribution to my life and the life of my kids in the future. I mean, that's something that is really important for me, and I know it's a motivation for all the employees that we have on our civilian sector. It means, with that said, the opportunities that we have in NSWCPD and across, the federal government are really important, and the work that we do is important for us, for all of us. It means if you want to find a career that motivates you, and sorry, my camera went off, but now I got the other camera here. If you want to get an opportunity, or you find an opportunity to work for the federal government and more for the DoD, you have in mind that is that the job that you do, no matter what it is, no matter if it's shredding paper or if doing the highest technology work, will have a direct impact to your life and the life of your kids in the future.
Fantastic answer, Jose. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad we got the technical issues figured out so that you could join us and provide that. Tristan, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just see a lot of questions about specific majors. Hey, I'm majoring in blah 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 blah. Do you hire from this program? If you are from an ABET accredited program, that part is important. And if you're not sure if you're from an ABET accredited program, you can go to, I think it's like abet.org. I don't know, Google it. And you can search your school and your specific degree program to ensure that it is ABET accredited. As long as that is true, there's a very good chance that we definitely hire from your major. Outside of that, business majors, we do have a significant portion of our business. I don't know what percentage it is, like 30-40%, right? Something like that, where we are doing contracts, or we're doing financial management, or whatever it is. So we do hire from those degree fields as well.
Perfect. And I wanted to jump in. I see a question from Jelani Evans asking about working in the field versus behind a desk. Jelani, so I'm a branch head for a group that has so much field work. It is nonstop. And so there are, and Jose, actually, I'm going to defer to you as well. He's shaking his head yes, because in technology deployment, you are deploying the technology. The ships are not in Philadelphia. The ships are all over the world. Catherine, I'll defer to you in a second as well. Lots of opportunities. You know what? How about this? I'll start with Catherine, and then we'll go to Jose, because I'm sure they have some great examples.
Yeah, so I don't travel much anymore because I have children now, but my first year at NAVC, I traveled like 100 days in 1 year. And that was like my choice because I wanted to travel. That's why I picked Philadelphia. And they sent me to Hawaii like 4 times because it was great because one of the ships out there that we were working on, there was like a problem on that ship. So we had to keep going back to troubleshoot this problem. So it's a good mix of like you get to be at your desk for 1 week, and then you just get to like be in Japan maybe for 2 weeks, and it's really cool.
It's 100% agree with your assessment on that. I was gonna play a game with you guys to see who's traveled the farthest, but I think Mike being in the Navy and on a submarine, or maybe Alex being in the Air Force has probably gotten me beat. All my travel has just been domestically in the U.S., but I went through our travel portal, which is called DTS, the other day, and I think in the 15 years I've been here, I've done 153 different trips. So that's just another metric. Jose, I'll kick it over to you. I know you guys probably travel a lot, so.
Yeah, and hopefully my camera keeps sustaining here. If not, you will keep hearing my voice. Yeah, in terms of work work behind a desk or travel or actually hands-on work, we do have a broad. Most of our engineers are doing engineering work, but at the same time, I'm working on a lab, or at the same time, I'm working on the chip, doing assessment of the systems or doing troubleshooting of the systems. That means I'm more in Philadelphia. We are ISCAs. I mean, we provide sustainment support to all the HMNE systems across the fleet. I mean, if something is wrong on one of those systems on the ships, we are the experts, and we're the ones that goes there, provide troubleshooting guidance, provide support to the ships. In my technology deployment group, we actually execute alterations across the Navy ships. That means, and across submarines too. That means I need to have eyes on board the ships all the time, 24/7. I got a lot of groups that are on, or a lot of members that are on the waterfront 24/7, and the people in Philadelphia are traveling there constantly. That means 25%, 30%, inclusive in occasion 45% of travel, depending on the employee and what flexibility they have to travel. But a lot of travel, a lot of opportunities to don't be just a desk engineer. You are in this type of work. You are not a desk engineer. Let me put it like this: you are a multi-phase, multitask engineer that have hands-on, has mindset on engineering. Is across the board.
Yep. Perfect. So I see a few questions about internships, co-ops, and all that stuff. I'm going to get to that in a second. I wanted to build on what Jose was saying, just to give you guys a background of NSWC Philadelphia. An example that I found that's a great way to describe what we do is if you imagine an empty ship and you think of all the things that you need inside that hull to be able to have that ship be a ship: engines, propulsion, diesel power, right? Power generation, steering, cranes, maybe to lift stuff on and off, right? Networks and navigation, right? If you think of any of the core stuff that makes a ship, that is what Philadelphia does. So, I'll give you guys that as some context. Tanvir or Alex, I'll defer to you guys if you guys want to give a brief background of what NIWC's mission is, and then we'll get into internship opportunities.
Yeah, I could pop in. So broadly, NIWC has an emphasis on serving the warfighter, right? Making systems and developing them with the warfighter, working with them to make it easier for them to use it in the field. Specifically, Uncrewed Maritime Vehicle Lab, which is where I currently work on. We work on uncrewed vehicles that can be both on the surface or underwater, and so we're developing the system that would go on into the water. We're doing prototypes. We're creating documentation for further development. We're designing and then testing them, and so we'll go out on trips on different events to test our environment, our systems in different environments. But one emphasis I'd like to have is that if you'd like to travel, there are opportunities to travel. If you don't want to travel, there are opportunities to stay at home. It's really dynamic environment, so those different opportunities can come up for various types of people.
Yes. Also, a great clarification that you don't have to travel 100% of the time or 50% of the time. There are opportunities where you can just be based in Philadelphia, based in San Diego, and etc. So, Jesse, go ahead.
I would love for you guys to circle back to what it means to be a part of NSWC, because I know our friends out at Crane, they are focused on a lot of different things that still obviously involve the Navy ship, correct? Like they're doing things with radar technology, sonar technology, things like that. Why does it take several different locations out across the country that go into one thing? Why wouldn't they just put you all in one place?
Great question. Tristan, did you have your hand up? Do you want to chime in on this?
I did, but then I put it down. No. So our responsibility is shipboard machinery system. So it's anything inside of the ship. So our domain stops at weapon systems. We don't deal with nuclear reactors. We don't deal with the topside stuff. We don't deal with the hull. And so there are other labs that deal with different aspects of that ship. Other warfare centers also have focuses on different types of things. So there are Naval Surface Warfare Centers. There's also Naval Undersea Warfare Centers. We're kind of in a unique space where we do both things with surface ships and submarines. So it's almost a little bit unclear just from our name what exactly we do. It can be a little bit confusing. But yeah, that's a good question.
And the reason why I asked that, and I think that's really cool, is that when we're getting to learn about what each of these locations are doing, especially from the AI Futures perspective, is that there is a variety out there, right? And that's what makes it so interesting, and that you be able to essentially tap into what your potential passion could be, or you're going to discover a passion that isn't out right there. So just hearing the history so far of what each of you have gone through and where you are now, I think is just so awesome, because you don't necessarily get that experience whenever you're in the private sector, right? So thank you for that answer.
Yeah, and Jesse, you brought up a great point that I wanted to circle back to, maybe starting with Mike, right? And I think, Jose, you mentioned you had some time in private industry as well, right? Which is, can you guys, I started right after college. I did some co-ops in private industry, but for the last 15 years, almost 16 this August, I've been an NSWC Philadelphia employee. And I'm so curious, right, when my email is overflowing and I'm like, I should just go to private industry or whatever, right? The grass is always greener type thing. So talk me off the ledge. What was private industry like, and why do you guys prefer, or do you prefer, being in government? Mike, I'll start with you.
Yes, I think that's great with the grass is always greener. It is never greener on the other side of the fence. It is always greener where you came from or where you're going to, but never where you're at in your own eyes. I had good experiences in private industry, which helped me get back to the Navy. When I was at GE, I did design engineering. I did some contracting. I got my master's in engineering reliability, and then I wanted to get back home, so I came to Sun Refining, Sunoco in Philadelphia, where I did high power stuff, 13,000 volts, power distribution systems, substations, transmission lines. And then with the new class of submarine that's coming out with the higher voltage that's on that, plus the higher voltage on the Ford class, they specifically wanted me for my high voltage experience along with my submarine experience. So what I learned in private industry brought me right back to the Navy. And I absolutely love working for the government again. The biggest difference between government and industry, you can make more money salary wise in private industry, but the benefits with the government are so much better.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And sometimes you feel like, I want more money, or you see other, keeping up with the Joneses, but the benefits, right? I think the stability, right, is huge.
And the biggest thing for me is you have to keep your focus on the end user. In this case, it's the sailors. If you're doing something at your desk and it's not a direct contribution to what the impact is going to be in the sailors, you're not working on the right project.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to start with Jose, and then Tanvir, I'll give you an opportunity. Jose, go ahead.
Yeah, I did, as I said, 5 years of private industry. Across practically two different industries. I did aerospace industries, then I jumped as supervisor in the maritime industry. I did pretty well on both sides before start with the government. I moved to the United States. I was in my hometown in Puerto Rico. I moved to the United States with the opportunity to start to work for the Navy and in NSWC PD. One of the things that the difference, or I see the difference between government and private industry is the stability. On the government side, you're pretty stable. We are, at least on my experience, we just came out from a pandemic. I never lose a check. I was able to work all my time through the pandemic and supporting the need of the Navy, and actually contributing to keep moving forward different items across that pandemic. I do have a lot of friends in the private industry that they lost their job during that time. That means like that stability is one of the key items that keep me or move me to select the government to move my career there, here. Another part too that I've seen in the private industry is like difference in the government. We are working on different projects. If the projects are successful, we develop those projects, we get those projects out, and we keep moving forward. Same if the project is not successful. That means we work for the government, we have a project that is not successful, we find other ways to get that manpower and allocate it in different areas to keep that manpower in work status. Private industry, most of the case, you can be the the best performer, you can be the highest on working on that project. But if your project goes south, you go south with the project. Probably you're gonna get fired. It
Yeah.
means you're just going back to stability. That's what I see. You know, that's one of the key items working for the government, the job stability. Over.
Yep. Now, before Tanvir, I'm just going to do one comment and I'll give it to you. Something I've seen recently, right, is on the news, a lot of layoffs in big tech, right? So everybody talks about, right, I think Mike mentioned, hey, yeah, you might be able to get larger compensation, but bigger risk is also associated with that bigger reward, right? So again, as Jose mentioned, right, during downturns, you don't get laid off of the government, right? So when you see viral videos of people recording their layoff, conversations with HR or whatever, right, from the government perspective, you're just an observer, right? That's not a situation where you get a pit in your stomach thinking, okay, what, am I going to be next? So stability is huge, especially from a planning purpose, right? So Tanvir, go ahead, please.
Yeah, great points from everyone, Shrey and Jose and Mike involved, right? I think one thing that I'd like to also comment on is that although I've not worked in a private industry as a full-time engineer, a lot of my friends have, and as we commented already, the compensation tends to be higher in private industry. I think one thing to kind of comment on is that the total compensation, total salary might be slightly bigger, but the salary per hour, the pay per hour may change because for all of our government work, we're working on 40 hours. If we ever, normally it's 40 hours. If we ever rarely have to work more for a specific event, we're fully compensated for that, either comp time or overtime. In private industry, you may not always get the opportunity. And so maybe the pay per hour might be different. So you might want to look into that a little bit more when you're making those decisions. I think that helps us get opportunities and help our communities a little bit more. That's actually one of the reasons why I was able to go teach last year at an underserved community, taking a college course to a high school. And I think that passion is why I've been able to get actually the recent promotion I have to be the STEM outreach coordinator for my lab. So you get to give back to your community a little bit more, I think.
That's awesome. Congratulations on the promotion, by the way. So Jose, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add to his comments. Yeah, we do get paid for anything that we work over the 80 hours, and that's something that you don't see. If you're a salary employee on private industry, you just get your paycheck. That means when you add those hours that you're working, then normally you work more than 80 hours on the private industry. That's something that I see a lot with friends that I have, and they do not get compensated for that. We do get compensated no matter what type of work. If you're working more, if you're doing training, if you are doing panels as this one, you always get compensated for the time that you're investing on your work. Another question that I think I saw running on the chat, if we are stable on our place. Yeah, at least most of our employees, we at least in Philadelphia, we are located in Philly. If not, we have regional location or detachments in different places. Yes, we are located in those places. We do have to travel a lot, but our home base is still Philly. We are not tied to, hey, in 3 years we're gonna be PCS to I don't know, to Corona or something like that. No, our base is Philadelphia.
Yep. And so real quick, I'm going to switch over. I know there was a handful of folks who were asking about internships. Tristan, I think you are our person of our SME on internships, opportunities, and co-ops. Do you want to comment a little bit about what we got going on right now?
Shrey, stop using acronyms. SME is subject matter expert. So I've been replying to chats as fast as I can. So there's a number of internship programs that sometimes can be a little daunting and a little bit confusing. The one that I usually point students to, just because it's one of the biggest programs that we have, and it is a national program as well for open to all Department of Navy labs, is the NREP program. So if you're interested in that program, I've typed it a couple of times in the chat, but it's https://navalsteminterns.us. That'll take you there. There is also high school internship opportunities there as well. So that program is open to all Department of Navy labs. That would be true for NIWC PAC as well as NSWC Philadelphia Division, as well as a slew of other Navy labs. The one thing I do want to mention is if you are applying for an internship, selecting the lab that you are absolutely serious about going to is important. So the worst is when somebody selects doesn't select the lab and they're like, why didn't I get an internship? Or they select the lab and then they reject the internship because that kind of wastes an opportunity for another student, unfortunately, because we can only do so many award offers at a time based on our current needs. But yeah, that program is specific to STEM majors. So we are looking for those within a STEM technology background. If you are a non-STEM major, Pathways is a great program as well. So you can give that a Google and look into that. That's how we bring in our business interns. There are other programs that I'm not going to talk about too much just because it gets a little bit daunting and a little bit confusing. But I think at the end of this, we can toss in our LinkedIn. So if you connect me on LinkedIn, I post different opportunities throughout the year. So that includes whatever the latest, greatest internship opportunity is at that given time. I will say right now we're beyond the application period. I'm sorry if you're looking for an internship for 2024, it doesn't work out. The open application period runs from August 1st through November 1st for the NREP program that I spoke about, but all of them are a little bit different. The other program that maybe is useful to mention is the SMART Scholarship Program. That is a full tuition, full books, everything paid scholarship program, but it is a pay for service program. So the idea is you take a year of the scholarship and then you have to pay back a year in service to the Department of Defense. A lot of those students come on over the summer as interns with us as well. And I see that Catherine's hand's up.
Go ahead, Catherine.
Yeah, I just wanted to say my internship was with the NREP program when I was at Dahlgren, and it was very laid back, very nice. I moved to Dahlgren for the summer. It was a good experience.
Awesome. And if I recall correctly, our colleagues at AI Futures, right? You guys are also funded and I think designed to support finding internships and opportunities within the DoD. I guess Jawan or Jesse, I'll let you guys take that one.
Yes, we are. So we do help with those internships, scholarships, anything above the board regarding the DoD. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So for everybody that's on this chat, right? So connect with Tristan, and I guess subscribe to AI Futures and everything that they got going on. Feel free to just email people, right? So and always ask for help. I saw somebody says, also why does the government recruitment process take forever? It seems cumbersome. So when you have questions, just try to reach out to, by being here at this panel and meeting me and all the other panelists, right? Hopefully you'll get some of our contact information on LinkedIn, right? So you guys are welcome to now reach out and, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, or I applied for this, I didn't hear anything. Do you have any feedback or any programs that you recommend? So, okay, I'll pause there. Let me see what else. Oh, there's a question in chat. And I want Alex and Catherine to comment on this. To start, and then we'll open up to everybody else, right? Zach mentioned, what are some soft skills you think would be most beneficial to acquire while in school for cybersecurity? So yeah, Catherine or Alex, if one of you guys have thoughts, feel free to jump in. Go ahead, Catherine.
So I did the cyber defense team at my school, and that was a good experience because we went to like the competitions and stuff and got to do like hands-on experience. And then we also had like a club, which was like not so serious. And like I also did things in that, but that would be like smaller like cyber exercises that we would like do together, and they would like kind of teach us cyber 101. And I didn't have like any cybersecurity background going into college or anything. Like I was just like good in math, so I kind of just like picked computer science and ran with it, and it ended up being my thing.
Awesome. Nice. Alex, I'm not sure. I don't see you on my ribbon, but go ahead if you have a comment.
Yeah, I was just going to say adaptability. So for me, like when I was in the Air Force, I had to adapt to a whole different amount of situations when it came to cyber. And as I went into private industry, I did different CTFs and got exposure to different systems to be able to accommodate different or be able to innovate in more complex situations. So being adaptable, flexible, and just being innovative, I think. Like I have a lot of standalone projects that help me a lot, especially the ones I did at DEF CON. And, you know, it just helps to be able to put your name out there and just expose yourself to different resources, information when you're going into things, especially cyber.
Awesome. From a soft skills perspective, the only thing I'll add is I'm not in cyber, but what I found that's worked for me is just being open, being communicative, being brave enough to say, I don't understand something, or can you pause there? Or as Tristan called me out earlier, hey, stop using acronyms. I don't know what you're talking about, right? So I found that people are just, they're like, oh, Shrey communicates, he knows what's going on. He's receptive, right? So I think that's a big aspect, right? There is, you're working with others, right? You're building social capital. And it's important just to to build and maintain and nurture those relationships with your colleagues, so that you can, as somebody mentioned, systems engineering, right? You're forming a system of employees that are all working on this thing, right? And you want that system to be successful. So I'll pause there in case any of the other panelists have any comments on soft skills.
Yeah, I mimicked that.
Yeah, I
mimicked that.
Go ahead.
Get some feedback. Okay. Yeah, communications is a huge one. Any type of soft skills where you are building that, either public speaking kind of thing, leadership, team building. Those are the things that I usually touch on. I know a lot of those opportunities are not available early on in someone's career, but if there are opportunities to kind of build those or work with those. The other thing is, if you're in an engineering background, this isn't a soft skill, this is a technical skill technically, but hands-on work. I know that a lot of folks within our organization are looking for those who have some experience doing things like machining and welding and things like that. And that's because we do so much, machinery systems work. And so that type of skill base is important even beyond skilled trades.
Awesome. And Mike, go ahead. I'm going to give you a chance too.
Oh, I was going to echo the communication part. It's both oral and written. Everybody's going to be in a meeting like this as a participant. You could be the one leading the meeting. You could be the one giving training. As far as written goes, nothing gets approved without a 80-page document signed by everybody. So you might be the one writing that document. You'll be the one writing technical papers, whether they be, I'm speaking from an engineering standpoint, whether it be test procedures or test directives or engineering directives. We're working right now. I'm part of a team writing a 5,000-page technical manual for turbine generators. So it's communications in every form possible. You're going to excel at in one way or another, in no matter what field you're in, whether it be engineering or cyber or contracting. Communications is the key to success.
Absolutely. Jose, please go ahead.
I think the desire to learn and desire to apply your skills, and you need to be have a desire to collaborate. I think as long as you come in with the good intentions to learn, to add value to the work that is required to do, I think that will put you there. You need to come in with skills, as I said. Soft skills, communication is really important. Being able to listen and be able to take feedbacks and apply those and learn from those. I think as long as you're able to have that mindset of communication, mindset to learn, mindset to apply your knowledge, and don't be afraid to commit mistakes, but don't be quiet. That's one of the things that I said to all my employees. Yeah, don't be afraid to commit mistakes. Just go ahead, do your best, and I think as long as you come in with those good intentions, you're always gonna find a way to be successful here.
Perfect, perfect. So I saw a question from Renato, all right, who's a PhD candidate with lots of great experience looking for opportunities on how he can take his experience and apply it to some of our problems. And looking at the time, right, I wanted to use this as an opportunity to plug that NSWC Philadelphia is going to have a career fair coming up, an in-person career fair. It's going to be in Philadelphia for anybody that's not local. It's April 10th. And I think if you guys connect with Tristan, he on his LinkedIn, he'll have a post about it. And I'm not sure, Tristan, if you have a post just to the link, like I thought there was a LinkedIn post from the command, but feel free if you have anything to drop it into chat. Beyond that, there's USA Jobs. USA Jobs might seem a little bit overwhelming and cumbersome, but I think you guys can probably look on YouTube for some tutorials on how to set up searches, how to set up your profiles, and look for recurring opportunities. So I'd encourage that as well. Befriend or link or connect with other organizations, right? NSWC PD and NIWC PAC are just two of many DoD organizations. We're just two of many Navy organizations, right? So Google, right, Navy engineering, and look at what that sprawling web looks like, and look for all those organizations and try to connect with them on LinkedIn. And just as much as our organization posts about career fairs and internships and other opportunities, I imagine that they'll all be posting as well. And soon you guys will have a thriving, set of opportunities within the defense sector. I'll pause there. If anybody else on the panel has any comments about upcoming opportunities, and then I'll turn it back over to our colleagues at AI Futures for wrapping up.
And NIWC, do you know of anything opportunity-wise?
Besides the NIEIP, the Smart Scholarship, which I believe you already mentioned, there's also something called the New Professional Program that that's the reason that I was able to get through into NIWC. So those of you that are graduating soon, you can apply, and then I think it's about 9 months before you graduate, and then they set you up with 2 tours that are each 3 months, so you get an opportunity to check out different groups within the lab. And so I would advise doing that process. Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. All right, and let me see. I'm going to do one last scrub of the questions, and it looks like Mike Timberman had responded to one last one. So okay, yeah, with Jawan or Jesse, I'll turn it back over to you guys. I know you guys had a few slides, and I'll give you guys a few minutes to wrap up.
Yeah, I'll take over from here. So I do want to give another thanks again to all of our speakers here from both NIWC PAC and NSWC Philadelphia division, almost said edition. It was great to have you guys here to answer a lot of the questions that everybody had. It seems like a lot of questions were posted. There was a lot of people excited now who want to look more into this. It's really cool. So just to plug a couple things that we have really quick. So let me go to the next slide here. For anybody who lives near the Ohio State University, March 29th, we will be hosting an event at OSU's Esports Arena in partnership with U.S. Army DEFCON Grounds Vehicle System Center. They will be coming with a ton of virtual reality simulation demos to show off, as well as if you are in the gaming as well, we'll be hosting gaming tournaments as well during that period of time. So I'll actually be dropping that into the chat for anybody that's interested that lives in the area. Feel free to sign up. It is limited seating though, so first come, first serve. Outside of that, the last thing, if you're interested to learn more about AI Futures, about how to get a job within the DoD, going off of what Shrey said, setting up your USA Jobs profile, setting up your LinkedIn, going through your resume, somebody to go through your resume, that's the service that we offer. Feel free to scan either the QR code right here to schedule time with our student outreach coordinator, Markham Pfeiffer. Also, we have our new email, outreach@aifutures.us, if you want to just email over and we'll get in contact with you and start setting up those sessions. So that's about all I have to plug from my side. Again, thank you for everybody showing up, and thank you for your time.
Awesome. Yeah, I just want to reiterate, thank you AI Futures for hosting this. Thank you to Tristan and Jose and Tanvir and Mike and Alex and Catherine, and I think I'm missing 1 or 2 other people as well, for joining us. Yeah, Tristan, Jose, thank you. This was great. It was great to have a chance to talk to you guys and learn more about your guys' backgrounds, and how we can all work as a team to hopefully bring on the next generation of naval engineers. So. I see somebody clapping. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We do accept claps.
I hope everybody has a great weekend. I think it's St. Patrick's Day weekend, so I'm sure there's lots of fun to be had. So,
Definitely. Thanks again, guys. Have a good rest of your week, or good rest of your day, and a great weekend.
all right, take it easy, everybody. Bye, guys.
Thank you all. Have a good week. Bye.
See ya.